All right, what's up, my brothers? We have a requested topic today, a sponsor video from a gentleman who is a little too focused on chasing tail, if I'm being honest, and has fairly low self-confidence. He put himself at a 4 out of 10 on a self-confidence issue. He's got most of his life reasonably sorted, especially for his age, in my estimation. Mid-20s, decent income, homeowner when he was in his early 20s. He has the car that he wants. And seems pretty content in the job that he's doing. But I'm going to scroll down here just to hide the top bit he didn't want me to show. Add to stream and just read you the request here and see what we can do to dispense some value. It says, hey, Rich, I was hardcore blue-pilled and pretty much codependent. Started watching your videos 8 months ago. I've been implementing them into my life. My motto is to force yourself to do something until it becomes habit. Working out, eating healthy, and focusing on myself and my wealth, which has worked out very well. I have only been in serious relationships and slept with a total of 6 women. So he's got a pretty small notch count, eh? My father has you need to find the one girl and stick with her. Well, we can now identify where most of this guy's blue pill tendencies have come from, right? So with that type of mentality, and unfortunately it's stuck with him. You read things in books just to justify your own mentality, and you've never heard anyone say it before, which is why I'm forcing myself to do certain things that have worked for other successful people. Yeah, one of the lessons that you got to learn in life as a guy is success leaves clues and so do failures. A skill that you have to develop is identifying who the losers are, not paying attention to what they're doing, find the winners and try to R&D what they do, which doesn't stand for research and development. It stands for rip off and duplicate. Just copy what success is basically doing, essentially. All right, so he goes on to say, I've never gone up to a woman and initiated a conversation, not because I'm afraid of rejection, but because I have no idea what I'm going to say or do. When I'm out somewhere, I just can't randomly go up to a group of women and try to spin some plate. That's not how plate spinning works, dude. That's what you're trying to define there is what's called cold approach. Just cold approaching, women and breaking in them and saying, hey, what's up? And then just starting to chat them up, which ideally should turn into getting a number or doing something with them. If you can go out and do something with them that day, that's another approach, especially during the day. Like some of these cold approach, like day gamers will do stuff like that. Spinning plates means that you're dating more than one woman simultaneously in a non-monogamous fashion. Get my book if you haven't read it. The Unplugged Alpha is available on Audible, print, and Kindle. I think Kindle's the cheapest format, but the Audible I narrate in the print, well, if you get a print book, it'll never go away. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with Amazon in the future. So just to clarify that bit, then you say, I've never had a one-night stand, so it makes it harder. Okay. Any tips on how to change my mental attitude towards picking up women? Well, first of all, on your first point here, you're spending way too much time on picking up women. All right. Your confidence is at a 4 out of 10. I clicked through on the link that you gave me to your social feed to kind of describe it I like to try to find somebody out there in Hollywood that my request represents, and then kind of like say, okay, this guy looks like this guy. So I've done that in the past and I'm gonna do it here. I've been watching Yellowstone on Amazon Prime. It's a fucking great series. Very pro-masculine. It's awesome. Kevin Costner is the lead character. Anyway, there's a character in Yellowstone that goes by the name of Jimmy, and he's one of the wranglers that basically works in the bunkhouse and helps, with the cattle and the horses and all that stuff. You remind me of Jimmy. That kind of look. I've never seen you move or talk, but just by looking at the pictures, I can see why you're coming up with a 4 out of 10 on the confidence level, which is fine. Okay, at least we have a starting point. We've benchmarked it. You can't manage what you're not measuring. At least you've had the backbone to measure yourself where you're at. You're not going to get a good result cold approaching women when you feel like you're a 4 out of 10. You're just not. So don't do it. My advice is to work on yourself until you've upped your level of confidence in yourself. When you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, I've done the work on myself last year. I'm no longer a 4 out of 10. I feel like I'm an 8 or 9 out of 10. A version of yourself. I'm not saying compare yourself to somebody else out there. What I'm saying is, are you the best version of yourself? And if you're approaching, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10, that's where you're getting close to being the absolute best version of yourself, which will get you better results in life and also with women. But a lot of guys, in my estimation, make the mistake of making cold approaches to pretty girls when they have a very low opinion of themselves. And it doesn't end well. All it does is just compounds on that. And sometimes it sends you down the spiral of like the black pill. So I don't think it's a good use of your time. From my opinion, that would be the first thing that I point to. The second thing you said, paragraph 2 here, it says, I got this from someone in one of the comment sections of one of your videos. Okay, first of all, the comment sections of my videos, there's some good feedback and there's some very mediocre feedback as well. I've gotten to the point where there's so many comments on videos and there's so much negativity, and in some cases a lot of useless stuff that shows up in there. I don't even have time to read comments anymore. So what I do is, anybody that's a channel member, I basically once a week I'll go through and I'll sort by channel membership, and I'll go and respond to those people if they have a question, or I'll just heart it, just let them know that I've seen it. But just be careful with the comment sections of videos, unless you know the person personally and you can consider the source. I always tell you guys, always consider the source when evaluating advice or tips that somebody gives you. Just, make sure that you understand that part. Anyway, the comment that he's making reference to is, any dude that constantly focuses on women more than likely struggle to get women at early stages of his life. Maybe, maybe not. When I'm at work, unfortunately, I used to not be able to turn my head when an 8, 9, or 10 would walk in, meaning I would fantasize about being intimate with them, and I would forget that I was working and just focus on her. So a pretty girl walks in, dude's completely distracted. This is completely away from my chase excellence, not women, theme. That's a soundbite that I've mentioned many, many times on my channel. So he would get overly distracted by her and would never pursue her or say anything. Do you have any tips on how to not make women the focus of your life? Again, dude, you've got so much more that you can do on yourself than fantasize about hot women that might be walking into where you're working. I get it. It's a part of life. You're a young guy. You've got healthy, testosterone levels. Probably, you're looking at hot women. You're thinking that you just want to, get it on, which is totally fine. But the opinion that you have of yourself and the value that you've established for yourself, you don't have a great opinion of yourself. And that's where you should be working on it. The reason why you're obsessed with it is because you don't have a lot of access to it. Guys that have access to abundant, beautiful women don't obsess over them. It's not something that they'll constantly, fantasize over. One of the questions I get, from a lot of guys when I do something like a live Q&A on my Instagram, where they fill out these boxes and I do like quick videos to answer them, is there's always one or two people that are like, well, what do you think about NoFap? And, as far as NoFap goes, as far as I understand, it's basically not masturbating and just not doing it. But any guy that has an abundance of beautiful women in his life and has access to their intimacy isn't talking about NoFap, because it just doesn't cross their mind. And then when I say that, then they proceed to argue with me in my DMs, and it's like, oh, dude, like, we're really going to go down here. Like, the obsession that a lot of guys have with things that aren't productive to their own betterment, to leveling up. You have to ask yourself this every single time. Does this behavior get me closer to what my goal is, what I'm aligned with, right? Like, if this guy's, thinking to myself, I want to have more intimate interactions with women. I want to have more one-night stands. I want to date more beautiful women, or I want to date, maybe less women that are more beautiful, if you're not getting higher tier women. You're focusing on chasing tail still, which is completely backwards, like I said earlier, from chasing excellence. Chase that excellence first. Become the best version of yourself, right? You've benchmarked yourself. What areas do you have to do work on? I mean, you said earlier that you've got basically the job that you like, the house and your dream car, that you want, but you're not having success with women. Is your bar maybe set a little bit too low? Is it, is a question that I'd be asking myself, because women don't care about you or your struggles or what's going on in your world. They hang out at the finish line and they pick the very best men that they can get. You've heard me say this before many a times. I've quoted in my book in at least a few of the chapters and cited the reasons behind why it exists. But you have to get out of your head this whole chasing mentality, this whole distraction by beauty. At your age, in your mid-20s, you should start being over this by now. I mean, ideally by your early 20s, I would say. I mean, I get it as a teenager. You get pretty obsessed with chicks. But as you get older, you should start to unplug from this crap. Like, one of the things that I've said is a lot of guys put women up on pedestals and they chase them, but they do it because they think that women are a scarce commodity. Like hot chicks are just like, there's very few of them. So, oh, there's one, so I'm going to fantasize about her and not do my job, right? But it's not true. The scarce commodity on the sexual marketplace is top shelf men, right? Men that know how to put a dent in the universe, that can make it rain, that know how to make bank, that are masculine, that live in a strong masculine body with broad shoulders and a narrow waist, and they got a little bit of muscle on them. Think like a swimmer's body. They travel when they want. They drive exactly the car that they want, right? They have the ability to maneuver. They have a great social network, right? These are the top shelf men that these 8s, 9s, and 10s that you're quoting when they walk in that are interested in dating. So, how do you get them interested in you? You basically become the best version of yourself, which you're not right now. You're way too focused on getting the girls, right? Your third point is here. When I see a woman who's an 8, 9, or 10, I feel my blue pill side coming back, and I don't notice it until later. I carefully choose my words and try not to offend her. You're being too careful here. Read Mode 1 by Alan Roger Curry. That'll help explain communication styles to women. You can find it on Amazon. It's available in all formats. Definitely check it out. I had a bartender the other night ask me for my number after we had a conversation about her boyfriend. So she asked for his number after talking about her boyfriend and how much she hates him. Go figure. But I was wondering, how do I not give a shit about what they look like? Because I try to be on my best behavior when I see someone who's very attractive. She's basically she's basically wanting to hop into it with you is what you're dealing with here. And I don't know if you gave her your number or not, but that's what she's looking for, dude. Like, you're talking about, having some amount of remorse for not being able to have a one-night stand. Well, that was an opportunity right there. That's basically what she was aiming for. But you're talking about, because I try to be on my best behavior when I see someone that's very attractive. There's an old saying in the UK that they use a lot, and it's if you want to keep them keen, you got to be a little mean. And you've got the typical nice guy type of behavior. No More Mr. Nice Guy by Robert Glover, Dr. Robert Glover. Read that. In fact, a lot of the books I have pinned in my Amazon bookstore, and if you haven't read my book, start with that, because that's about the best entry point to learning and understanding the distilled versions of everything, within the red pill. But Robert Glover's book, some Ivo Sykes' book, if you haven't got into Rollo's first 2 books, read those. But you're putting way, way, way too much effort on, what does she think of me? She's so pretty. How do I break into her? You're not having a good experience with it, and you've got anxiety around it because you don't think you're worthy of it, because you don't feel like you're hot shit. Don't go following any of these like scam artist PUA guys that'll try to sell you like a program or a student course. Half of them are so full of crap, it's coming out of their ears, man. I've recently come across a lot of stuff that people have shown me where some of these guys sell programs and courses, and they actually hire prostitutes to get their students laid. So stay away from anything in that area. I really can't recommend that, and I don't think it's a good use of your time. I think the best use of your time is to double down on yourself. Basically, go into monk mode. If you're feeling like you're a 4 out of 10, get yourself up there, get yourself up a few notches. There's a chapter in my book that I spend some time on getting some better results with women, how to use online dating properly, structure a proper profile, photography. You need to do all those things, man. Like, your life will be so much easier and a lot fuller of more beautiful women than what you're dealing with right now, when you get your head fully unplugged from all the bull crap. Like you said earlier, your father was you need to find the one kind of girl and stick with her, and you're always talking about being on your best behavior when you see attractive women. Women like bad boys. They like a guy that has that can tune into his inner asshole. I'm not saying be a prick, but I'm saying they like guys that can tune into their inner asshole. They say you can do anything to women but bore them. And if you go around being that boring nice guy that doesn't get the Gina tingles going for, don't be surprised if you keep getting the crap results, right? So the long story short of it all is, work on yourself, chase excellence, not women. You've already benchmarked yourself. Go and do the work. Read some of the material that I've suggested. When it comes to talking to pretty girls, which is one of the things that you were talking about, you know, being anxious when it comes to walking up to women in a group, just try this. Look, you know, you go to the bank, you go to the gas station to fill up your car and you pay at the till. If there's a remotely attractive girl, she doesn't have to be a 9 out of 10. Like if she's remotely attractive, just chat her up. Hey, how do you like that new phone? You know, what's that new Apple Watch all about? You know, just find something that she's doing and then make a comment on it and engage into a little bit of a conversation. Not for the point of getting her number or getting a one-night stand, but for the point of dealing with your anxiety a little bit so that you feel more comfortable talking to women. If they start asking you questions, so here's another pro tip. If they start asking you questions about, hey, is that your car over there? You know, what do you do for a living? Where do you work? You know, I've seen you here before. You know, if you're talking to the girl, the lunch place that makes your sandwiches, sort of thing. Just keep going with the conversation. If you feel like there's some flow, like there's some back and forth, say, hey, look, you know, I'm super busy right now. I got to get back to work. I got to go do whatever. Because, you know, a man on his purpose has shit to do. He's not going to stand around ooh and on about, you know, what do I do next? What do I say? Just end the conversation and say, hey, I got to run, but I'd love to carry on this conversation. Let's grab a coffee sometime. Hand her your phone and say, throw your number in there and I'll text you later. Right? Practice talking in the mirror if you have to. It doesn't matter to me, but that's the starting point for you to get rid of some of that anxiety. It's just working on it. Work on yourself, work on the anxiety, and chase excellence, not women. Those are the big things that I would say here. Okay, pinned in the top comment, there's a bunch of useful links. You want to grab my book, request video topics like this, join my community. You can check them all out there. Have an amazing day. We'll see you guys later. Peace.